Hey guys, what's up? This is Shark talking. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is very important because we are finally receiving the global exclusive version of Emelia. And after receiving the Lethal Commando version of her, it is hard to keep our expectations high because she's already strong enough. But can the global exclusive version of Emelia become even better? That's something that we'll be answering with this video. This is like a tentative review because we still don't have the final values. I don't know if something may change. Well, they were already showing the status and skills on the Taiwanese YouTube for Romancing Saga Universe, so I will just keep this as a real information. Okay, so let's discuss something. We just got this announcement of the banner for Global Exclusive Emelia, and it's one of the best banners ever. But not for everyone, because you, me, and maybe some other people may already have most of the styles here. Liz is very good even now and keep being one because she has a very strong 8 BP attack for cold damage. We don't have many nukes for cold. We have many AoE options but not many single targets. Liz is getting a new version very soon, I think, but she's an AoE specialist, so this one is still relevant. Madeleine, AoE attacker with slash and lightning. She hits 4 weaknesses all the time. She's one of the best tanks for fast content as well. Not one of the best, because I still use her to this day and I cannot find enough reasons to switch her unless it's boss fights. Yeah, she's good for everything save boss fights. Then we have Narwhal's daughter, the best buffer in the game before the arrival of Matrock, but she still competes with Matrock because of so unique buff and increase to BP. Well, Narwhal's daughter buffs all status while Matrock buffs only 4. And we also have Faerie, the Brownie musical version. This one here is a multi-hitter attacker for Pierce. We still lack many Pierce options and many people can benefit from her. But all the styles are returning, save for the global exclusive version of Emelia. Also, this is only the second time, yeah, if I remember correctly, that we have 5 characters in a banner. So we will not be getting any off banner. If you are a new character that don't have any of the styles, summon. You don't even have to think too much. I must say that, well, you should still try to pity. Go for a pity if you have like around 20,000 or 30,000 gems is better because you can, well, pity even if this lasts for only 2 weeks, we'll still be getting more content to get remaining gems. But, well, people that already have all the other 4 styles besides Global Exclusive Emelia may have to think if Emelia adds too much to their squad compositions to guarantee, well, spending gems and have some good rewards. Especially because Lethal Commando Emelia is still good for some stuff. Emelia adds value to the other styles, but it doesn't just, well, power creep the other ones. So, I will be discussing all the other styles before we talk about Emelia. Let's go to our SaGa website. Yeah, starting with Liz, we have 5 different versions of her. This one was a summer exclusive. This was the half-year anniversary version. This one we are probably getting pretty soon. And then we have 2 other versions of her. They are all very strong, always based on intelligence, save for the summer one that's more of a pierce damage dealer, well, but also a mage. All the other styles are all about magic. The good thing about this version that still keeps good even with all the other styles is the 3rd skill that's called, here it's called Road of the Angry Dragon, I don't remember the global name, and this cannot be learned by any other version of her. This is a skill that can be used twice in a 3-turn cycle because of such a low cost. Her intelligence is also pretty high, she negates cold damage and she counters when she's attacked, and that is the same thing with Polka. I think that Polka is a better nuker because of the global buffs when they got released together, but still, Liz has very high status if you compare to the other styles. Maybe the totals are not so high, but she at least has very high intelligence. Her agility is kind of a problem. You can see here only 45% increase. Sometimes you have problems deciding if she goes first or second, but with sigmoid formation and reverse sigmoid formation, it's easier to decide if your characters go first or not. Even Anime 3 now has, well, 2 slots for characters that need agility. And, well, let's just show something here, and this other version of Liz is an AoE specialist, like I said. This is the newest one. We have way many AoE attackers for cold, so she faced some competition, although she will be the best one. Well, you can kind of replace her easier than just this version, because this one is a single target specialist. It's useful in farming scenarios and also in boss fights. Yeah, using her for boss fights sometimes. Then she gets this other style here that it's a mix between the two. There is a single target attack, then there's this other single target attack that's a fast triple S. It's stronger, well, of course, but it also comes with a higher cost. So you will have to use this one, this nuke, and then use Splash after that. Unless you inherit the dragon attack from her version. So yeah, you see that you don't really replace her easily. Polka gets Scatter Explosion again with his other style, but this version of Liz is still good because of the third skill. As you can see, the latest one in Japan that's like, well, past month, or this month, I don't remember, is still doesn't learn the dragon attack again. Yeah, you have some different usages, like this one is an AoE fast attacker, that kind of sacrifices own HP for damage, an intelligence debuff with Water Hammer, and all the other things are different, so you're just stacking more usefulness of Liz. So Liz is still good for those that don't have her. I do recommend summoning because of Liz as well. Liz is pretty good. She can also be a healer by inheritance. And she has a lot of different and good inheritance options, I must say. Her healing is also pretty good. If you compare here, she can heal for around 1000 in JP with our Water of Life, and the Water of Life is inherited from her Summer style. That's a problem, that's not available right now. But I think that even just as a damage dealer, you are pretty fine. You also get this other version of her, yeah? This is a story version that will get this attack called, I forgot the name here, it's called Skull, and it will be able to be upgraded in the future. That's nice because it decreases the cost to 5, so that she becomes an AoE attacker without relying on the future style of her, the one that we are getting. Well, the one is better for AoE, gets way more agility to attack first, but it's just an option, meaning that you don't need all styles of Liz for her to perform well. And now let's talk about Brownie. This is a different version of Faerie. There are two Fairies in the game. This one is actually from story mode. We can get many of her styles from story. This one is from story, this one is from story. And I do believe this one will be able to get on story pretty soon as well. And she only has 2 SS limited styles. This one was limited, but it was an S. So this one here is extremely strong. It's recent on JP. And it also has some attack of this one, so it's still a good investment. Look, she has 2 arrows for STR, that's pretty good. You need that. And let's give a look on her multipliers. They are still good enough for the current standards. The Fairies are strong attackers with low endurance. That's the same thing that you can see it here. Enough dexterity, and, well, the other status are kind of average. She's just focusing on agility and STR, so she's good for farming and sometimes for bosses. Also, if you want to use Matriarch with her, it works pretty fine since she gets more agility. She already has very high ones. Well, let's get to the skills, and we have the second attack here is pretty nice because this one gives her STR when she attacks. This has 2 icons. I don't know why it has 2 icons on JP, but it's just a buff. 25% increase in STR every time that she uses. And you can use this twice in a row, and it sometimes can even kill enemies without having any other character attacking. Sometimes she can solo. Not so hard, but also not so easy, depending on the stages. Usually stages with 2 enemies, she can sometimes one-shot them, but she will just one-shot more with this third skill. I don't know the name in global, but this one, it's just double attacks. It's just like she's using 2 times the second skill. Look, the power is the same. And, well, 2 attacks is usually enough to kill even Juggernauts. Well, Juggernauts, they are weak to Pierce. They are weak to Sun, actually. But I'm just saying, a large enemy that's weak to Pierce, she's usually good enough. She cannot compete with Hannibal. Hannibal still does a little more damage. Not just a little, but a considerable higher damage. But Hannibal is just a one-shot and fast nuker. She's better for a long time. And, well, her status are more akin to agility than, well, endurance stats compared to Hannibal. Still one of the best ones for Pierce. She loses a little because of Ferdinand being released recently, and Ferdinand's a better investment. He also does Lash, but I still believe she's on the top 5 for Pierce, easily. And then we also have this attack that's both Pierce and Blunt. Well, this one is not needed. Just focus on the second and third one. She attacks, she heals, and buffs her own STR when attacking. It's similar to the first Faerie that we got that was limited. and fired up 4. Yeah, this character's still good enough because of the combination of skills. The second and third one are pretty good, and she would just benefit from having Matchwork as well. Good investment and safe investment. Let's just give a fast look to the other style of her. Yosei is the name on JP, and she has this attack here that's pretty strong, but it's also, well, sacrificial. It loses 1 LP to deal triple S damage with only 9 BP. That's interesting, but she cannot use this twice in a row. I don't know why it has such a sacrifice, but she also stacks STR every new turn. That's something that we find with the teacher Coppelia. The past version of her has only 25% chance of buffing STR, so this is interesting. She also gets something from the older version of Faerie that's a counter with 40% chances, but only with a normal attack. That's not something that we like right now. Many of the characters that we have that can counter with different attacks. But still, I see that she is good because of, look this, she can debuff Will for some specific fights where we need to increase chances to inflict status ailments to bosses, but also to increase magical damage. I don't think it's used for magical damage, it's more to, well, inflict something. Like, some bosses are not immune to stun. Very few of them, but yeah. And the second skill is still the same. So if you don't want to summon for her, I don't think you are missing too much, because the second skill is so good that you don't really need that double attack. In Miracle Parade will be good for farming scenarios. Also, she gets something better from, well, upgrading skills. Let's just change the zoom here. Let's see if you can see it better. There are some of her skills that can be upgraded. Swing will be upgraded in the future, but there's also, let's see. Yeah, this one here. 10 BP for a triple S attack with 60 modifier, without having to rely on, this attack from the music version. So if you, well, get too close to PD and you want to get Emelia, and the only other character that you are missing is this version of Faerie, you can still live without her and get the future style good enough without having to rely on inheritance. That's pretty good. And now it's time to talk about Narwhal's daughter. This one here is extremely useful. Even if you summon for Matriarch, you may still want Narwhal's daughter because of different scenarios. She buffs all status, 8 different status we have in the game, and she buffs all 8, while Matriarch can only buff 4. The version that we just got from Matriarch can buff 4, being STR, Endurance, Agility, and Intelligence. Some of the best ones. She gets another style that buffs the other 4s that are not so important, like Will, Love, Charm, and Dexterity. Dexterity is good, it's important for gunners and happier users and also bow users, but that's what we get. That's why they kind of lose a little of momentum right now because of Matriarch buffing the other remaining characters that rely on STR, Intelligence, and Agility. So these other styles then, well, happier users, bow users, and gun users will prefer to play alongside Narwhal's daughter. Not just that, but she also buffs Guard Up. It's not exactly Guard Up, it's called Defense Enhancement, but it decreases the incoming damage by 15%. That's insane. Well, her buff is way more costly than Narwhal's daughter. She uses 8 BP. 9 BP with Water Festival. And in Global, she was buffed. She even buffs 1 BP to everyone. Even herself. Yeah, she buffs herself. So what you do is increase your resistance because of the Guard Up, but also because you are buffing End and Will, the 2 status that are used for damage calculations, to receive damage. So increasing everything means for better sustain, but the problem is just that she cannot keep up with this because of such a high cost. Yeah, 9 is not easy, while Matriarch can do it with only 4. That's why she stacks that so fast that you become evasion machine. Such a high agility means for a lot of evasions. That's her best strategy. While this one is still good enough without having to rely on Matriarch. What about using both together? This becomes even better. You can just deal with most bosses by using the 2 together. One good thing is that she's also a healer by inheritance, but not this version. You have to rely on the S style that's currently available in Global because of the first year anniversary shop exchange. So you can get this attack here, Water of Vitality. She heals for emergency situations, yes. Aqua Bash was also changed in Global and she debuffs Will. If you need that, no, sorry, she not debuffs Will. She buffs the squad's Will, but only the squad's one. So it's faster to stack will if you need that to resist against magical attacks or to resist against status elements. That's the truth. So she's only for that. She also has an attack that's kind of fast. It has a fast property, and the damage is pretty poor. It's just to help Bart sometimes when he cannot kill one shot in one wave, or maybe Mac if he's failing, or maybe Joe. Joe because Joe uses water as well. So yeah, but she's not exactly for farming. It's just for some gimmick to clear the first wave. After that, Aqua Bash is a Column attack and it's not easy to use. But Matriarch value is so high as Matriarch in my opinion. Narwhal's daughter is just so good that everyone should have her just like Matriarch. In my opinion, most squad compositions will benefit of both in boss fights. So don't just forget about her if you have Matriarch. Still summon for this girl, she will be worth, I can assure you. And now with the case with Madeleine, we just recently talked about Madeleine because of her Ultra Deluxe style that's exclusive to Global. Yeah, this one here. So now we need to talk about this one that actually has a bigger value in my opinion. Yeah, because this one is a boss specialist that could also work in some farming scenarios. She's not as good as this one because this one is like the definitive front unit for Tiger Shark in farming setups. Yeah, if you're using Dojo, if you're using Zwig or Hobbing Cup, all the daily and weekly content benefit of using Tiger Shark because it's the only formation in this game that increases not only not the only one, but one of the best ones. The Phoenix formation also increases the aggro of one of your characters. What Tiger Shark makes is increase the aggro of the frontal unit so that you can just place your Madeleine there. She's also an attacker. Most tanks don't do good damage, so she is an attacker with a very special skill. She negates all damage that comes to her side for the first turn of every new round. So if you are on Zwig, every new turn, if you are clearing it in one turn, every new wave, you will negate damage that comes to her. That's amazing because, well, I think it's 60 something the chance of her to be attacked, and she negates. You can survive. If you are using one healer, you can survive. Before her and Valentine's Vampire Lady, Halloween Vampire Lady, sorry, that has the same passive. We always had to use two healers, maybe two healers that also attack, because that will give us a more higher chance to survive. But now with a tank like her that negates all incoming damage for one turn for every new wave, we don't need that anymore. That's why everything became so easy for me since I got this girl. And I must say that she's one of the best characters in the game. Even now. Yeah, so another good value out of this. She's an AoE attacker with two interesting elements, Slash and Lightning. And Lightning is still rare in this game. We got some Lightning attackers, but it's so rare. And not just that, Slash and Lightning will hit many enemies. Aquatic enemies are weak to Lightning, but they are not weak to Slash. Sometimes we're hitting for only Slash for humans. So also she has very good agility. You don't need, well, to place her in positions that increases agility. She can attack by herself before an enemy's attack. Her STR is not so high, but not so bad. For the AoE damage that she provides, is pretty nice. Only bad skill here is the third one. Yeah, third one is kind of bad. But Lightning and Slash is still king, and we need to use this in most scenarios. Like I said, only in boss fights you will not be using this girl. Maybe some boss fights that last for 3 turns, she could be useful, but I don't see a usage for her. She only negates damage for turn 1. Well, Global is different than this one, so let's not compare. She also has 30% increase in damage at all times. Yes, so very nice to have this girl here. It will help you with Zwig, with Robin Cup, with also, she's the central character for my Spiral Corridor runs. I always use Tiger Shark there because I can just place one healer, and if she dies, if we need more than one turn, we usually don't. If you are strong enough, if you have to be in training, you usually kill enemies in a single turn, so that's why she's so good. Well, and now we'll be talking about the last character. Yeah, guys, we reached the point. Before we talk about Emelia, let me tell you something. If you are missing 2 of the styles, it already has a very high value. Even if you are not thinking about summoning for Emelia, any of these styles here are good. I think that the last interesting one is Brownie, because, like I said, you can just get her next style and you'll be fine. Even if you are needing of Pierce right now, we had, well, many other options in the past. We are getting more Platinum styles that can do Pierce. You can live without it. But Liz is still kind of unique on the cold nuke. There is also Taria, but she cannot attack twice in a 3-turn cycle. Madeleine is still pretty unique. The best off tank that you can bring. Narwhal's daughter, totally unique. So 3 styles that are amazing. So even if you're not thinking about Emelia, you should summon here for sure. We still don't know the value, but I think that's 45,000 gems to pity. The problem here is if you don't get all the styles and if you want to pity, but we'll be talking about later. Let's talk about Emelia. Yeah, finally the time arrived. Now we are here on the squad, and all RPG gens posted this information here, and we have the information of all of her attacks, status, and passes because of the Taiwanese video that was posted early today. Thanks so much, our RPGs and those that translated this. So, her status is the most important to understand this character first. She has 98 dexterity, and even further with 17. That's pretty high for the current game, pretty high. 17 plus is very high value as well. Many characters don't have that much for flat bonus. She also has intelligence, 67 and plus 11. Well, why? You will understand when you look at her skills. Her agility is good enough from 81. Well, not the best one. Fuse is way faster, but Fuse is also a buffer. But let's not compare to Fuse. Fuse is a little over the edge. Most characters have 80 plus are fast enough. You don't need fast attacks with them. They usually go first unless you are using with extremely fast characters. Then she has very high will, 80, so meaning that if she's on the back and receives AoE magical damage, she will not receive so much damage. Also, you'll hardly be affected with status ailments. That's a good thing. She also has charm, 60%, but that's, well, not important to her own skill set, but when she gets healed, she gets a little more healings. Her endurance is not that bad for a gunner with 63. Yeah, that's good enough. If you're receiving an attack that's AoE and physical, she would not receive that much damage as some other gunner to have 30-something. So I see that they try to make her very good, versatile. With the status that really matters, they kind of working on that. But we need to talk about the skills first. I'll be reading the skills first before the passes because of something that's very interesting. The first skill is Derringer. This attack here is pretty strong for the coast. It's only 2 BP when you awaken, and it's the same attack that Mac uses. It's pretty powerful with Mac. My Mac uses like 17,000 damage when it uses Derringer. And for 2 BP, that's good, yeah. But Mac has very high status as well, so it helps. And this is an old attack. We already know that. Skill 2 is a new attack. Exclusive to her. It's a C power attack with 6 BP when you awaken, and it's both blunt and lightning. Yeah, she's an elemental attacker. I was thinking that it would be heat, because, well, she already has way too much blunt damage by herself. She even has pierce because of Sweet Trap. And now we also have lightning, so 3 damage types with Emelia now. Lightning is also very rare, like I was saying about Madeleine. So 6 BP, attack, blunt and lightning, but the bad thing, it's a roll attack. And it buffs agility to targets. That's the good thing. Well, we still need more agility debuffers, but the coast here is a problem. 6 BP means that she's not that good for stacking agility debuffs. Well, she can only use this once every 2 turns. She cannot be your main agility debuffer. Although you can use her alongside another one like Princess White Rose Valentine Edition or other character like Brownie that can debuff agility easily. So by herself, not so good, but to keep up, you can use her with some other characters that are main agility debuffers. But the bad thing is that roll attacks are hard to measure and also hard to program because sometimes you will never attack the enemy that was the best choice. When you're running on auto, sometimes it attacks the first enemy. And let's see that we have 3. And the game wants to attack this one. And by attacking this one, it will not attack all 3. We wanted to attack this. So the roll attack fails to attack the 3 enemies because it's targeting the wrong one. And that's how they designed the stages, and I don't know why. I must say that this is a bummer. Again, I'll be using this as a single target attack in boss fights when I need it. But then Emelia is all about her last attack. I know that this agility debuff is okay, it's good, but her reason to exist is better on the third one. This third one is amazing. It's an A power, we don't know the values. It can be, well, probably similar to Prefector Ocellus. We have to compare something. Prefector Ocellus has an A power opener as well, but she doesn't have more damage than Emelia. That's for sure. Emelia has more damage passives and more status. That means that if you like the damage coming from Perfector Ocelus or even Jorg, you will see higher damage output with this Emelia because of this attack. It's an 8 power, 11 BP, but let me tell you that she starts with 11, so she uses this on turn 1. And an indirect attack, of course, AoE for Blunt and Lightning. That is already good enough to open most combinations. If you're using reverse Sigmund that increases dexterity, agility, and intelligence and agility, that's a formation that you use gunners and bow users and rapier users alongside mages. Mages usually have very high agility, so you can kind of change the order of them. Place Emelia in the front so that she goes first, then place your mages in the middle and in the back. And if she goes first, you can save for maybe a fast attacker on turn 2, and her first attack will kill most waves in this game. Well, she's not as strong as Genryu. Genryu is stronger, of course. Genryu is a turn 2 attacker. We don't have so many AoE attackers that can finish waves by themselves on turn 1. So she's another one of these characters that can do this. We even have Red that can do if it's only 2 enemies or 1 enemy. But Emelia will be good for situations where we have, 3 enemies, 4 enemies. Let's talk about the second part of the skill. She debuffs agility to all targets by a large effect. Large effect? Well, not many characters have a large effect with active debuffs. I did some research, and it's actually 30% once you max this to rank 99. It starts with 25, already pretty high value. So let's talk about debuffs again. Submission, Bone Crusher, Skull Splitter, very common attacks. They are used as debuff to bosses. They have 15% debuff. This one has 30, it's double. Okay, the cost is so high, it's 11. How many times can I use this on a boss fight? Not many, I understand. But 30 as a turn 1 is amazing, because depending if you are using her with Matriarch or Narwhal's daughter, and you will be using, because I will tell you why, she already makes up for some evasions on turn 1. But then I think the developers wanted to give us a risk, and this is the first attacks in the game that has a penalty to the whole squad. Yeah, you debuff 30% of the agility from your enemies, and you also debuff 10% of all allies' agility. Why would we want this? We don't. But because usually attacks that have this much power don't have any type of effect attached. Remember, Ocelus doesn't have any effect, she just attacks and that's it. With this much cost, it was kinda probably too much. They thought it was just, well, let's just give something to decrease the value a little or give some risk so that people will not be spamming this like crazy. You'll still be spamming like crazy because, well, of the value. But it has a risk. You lose 10%. But if you are getting 30% debuff applied to your enemy and you have still a 20% credit here. Yeah, 30% for your enemies, 10% for you. But this is even better because of something. Her passives. Before we talk about that, let me just say again, she is good for farming because of skill number 3. It's just like with Genryu's case, where only one skill is the highest selling point for farming. Genryu is a single target monster as well, with his second skill. But Emelia is not that good because of the, well, bro attack. Derringer is not bad, but it's not something that can kill many enemies in this game. So, third skill, use it to finish waves, especially to start and open for fast attackers that can attack on turn 2 or turn 3. If you use her with 2 fast attackers that can clear waves, it will work. Okay, it will work. She's not for just boss fight. She can also be used for farming. That's important. But then let's look on her passives. We have passives 1, 2, and 3. First one is her selling point, but also something new, exclusive to her. When she lands a normal attack, if you don't know, a normal attack is considered a skill in this game. That's why they are doing this. But I haven't seen this being done in JP. I don't know, I don't always check all stuff. Landing a normal attack or any of her styles skill set, she has a 25% chance to chase. Chase is replicate the same attack again, but with rank 1 for the duplicate attack. And she gets 1 more BP when this trigger. Well, this is unique. It's interesting, but at the same time, I complained a little about, well, Katarina, the latest version of Katarina is still available, because she has a 25% chance of triggering a very powerful attack when using an APP attack. Well, yeah, I thought that was just like a beta version of something that should be great in the future. And yeah, it's already greater here. Why? She can replicate any of her skills. Any. Even Dedinger. Dedinger is, well, C-power attack that's pretty good with 2BP. Her nuke is insanely strong, and when she replicates this, it's amazing. But there is a problem. 25% chance is not reliable. But she gets 1 BP. Remember when we had some passives in the past that gave you 25% chance of getting 1 BP? Well, many styles in this game has this even up to this day. It's called uplifting. There are some different names as well. But you get 1 BP by attacking. She gets this when she replicates, and she gets more overdrive gauge because she's attacking twice. The thing here, guys, is how you can do this with skill number 2 and 3. Like I said, skill number 2 is kinda costly for agility debuff, but if you attack twice, it's a double agility debuff. That may help, but I still not her selling point. Right now, when you are dealing with bosses, sometimes bosses do some very crazy stuff on turn 1. Like they open with a very powerful attack that, well, deals like 600 damage. And sometimes they just chase your tank and kill him in 3 attacks, or kill your healer right from the start. And we usually have to retreat some and retry some boss fights because of that. It's an RNG fast. That's how this game was designed. So what we can do with Emelia, we can retreat until she replicates her skill number 3. What will happen? Well, she will use this twice, very good damage, covers 2 elements, blunt and lightning, and she debuffs your boss for 60% agility. 60% agility. That's insane. Remember when I said that most of our debuff attacks are only 15%? It's just like, using 4 debuffs with 4 different characters on turn 1 to stack 60. We also have to remember that debuffs lose 1/4 of their values every new turn. So still, on turn 2 she has 45 debuff for agility applied. Still pretty amazing. What this helps? Well, if she is faster than the boss, she can decrease the agility and evade. Not just her. Everyone in your squad can evade the first turn damage from your boss. But you have to retreat till you apply this. This is not something that many people will like. It's a gimmick strategy, kinda cheesy, but it works. She was designed with like coin toss, so you have to try to do that to save your setups in the future. Right now, the boss challenges are kinda doable with many different setups. Also, now with Matriarch, many bosses will be very easy, but we'll be getting some future challenges that are pretty hard. And there is even some challenges with 8 bosses. Yes, 8 bosses in the same stage. So this type of attacks will be way better. Some people just try to use some AoE counter attacks to try to kill the enemies very fast, but this will also be a very nice option. But remember, this is something important. When you debuff the agility from your enemy, it affects some stuff. It affects the evasion rate for all types of bosses, but it also affects the accuracy only for spells and martial arts attacks. Remember then when Genryu was a martial arts attacker, because of the skills being labeled as much? They are based on agility and STR. Well, some bosses will have the same setup. Sometimes their attacks are only based on intelligence. But the accuracy is based on agility as well. Either agility or agility and intelligence. So when you debuff their agility, they will have a very low accuracy and they will miss their attacks against you. That's when I said that you can evade attacks on turn 1. That's pretty interesting, but requires, well, a gimmick that you have to retreat and try again till it lands. Is it good enough? It will save you many times, and because you will be debuffed twice as well, you will have only 20% agility. So she needs to stay together with either Narwhal's daughter or the Matriarch. Like I said, Matriarch is recent, most people will have her, and Narwhal's daughter is on her own banner. You know? It's easy to make this combo. So, many people will not find value in this. She is better for boss fights. She can still do well for AoE attacks and farming scenarios where you have other two strong nukers, and you can bring 3 attackers and 2 trainees when you are farming. Her intelligence right now is 67 plus 11. Is it good enough? Yes. Hardly some bosses will not be hit by her debuffs, but in the future, a distant future, she may miss. But then what you do, you just buff yourself first before you use the skill. So you have to save Emelia for turn 2, especially if you're using her together with Matriarch or Narwhal's daughter or even both. Also, if you have problems with turn order, you have to use inverse sigmoid or just sigmoid formation that only buffs 25% increase in status, where you can just use Rainbow Rangers that increases 50 if you have fast attackers that uses each different slot. It's easier to program like that. If you have to use sigmoid, you have a lower output in damage, but maybe she will need that to attack before on turn 1. It will really depend on the characters that you are using on her squad. And her value for boss fights is because of this agility debuff. After using it once, if you are using her with Narwhal's daughter, you can use this again on turn 4. So it doesn't even need to be a double attack, just one is good enough to debuff 30% agility from your boss again. So it's an interesting thing, and I cannot say that it's the best thing ever. Of course it's not. So this skill itself, by use of the passive, makes for some good stuff, but it's limited. It's gimmicky, and not everyone will make a usage of it. And remember, even though she's pretty strong, for farming, she's not as good as some characters that can keep doing it like crazy. Like even the Madeleine that we have in this banner that just keeps attacking. The other version of her as well, the other Lethal Commando Emelia, it's also a very good AoE specialist. Also, just to say about inheritance, I think that Total Shot should be a good inheritance for her. Yeah. Total Shot uses 4 BP for an AoE attack. You can also just use Lethal Commando and inherit this skill. And if she does not attack on turn 1 with her third attack, she can just use this one instead as stronger and also has Blunt and Lightning. So makes up for more interesting setups with Emelia. Also, Bullet Dance will do more damage with this version than with Lethal Command, but the difference is just so small that you should not even consider too much. But for Overdrive, yeah, totally. On Overdrive, Bullet Dance will do way more damage with this version. Just on normal scenarios, it won't be so much different. So let's get back to this banner image. This was a pretty long review. One of the best banners in the game. After Gradius banners, in my opinion, this banner is one of the best ones. The thing is that we don't have an off-banner chance. You are always getting one of these 5 styles when you see an SS drop. You can still wait to see other banners if you want, but I think it's very hard to top this and have, 3 very amazing units, and one that may be gimmick, but it will also help you with harder content in the future if you are in for some retries. Well, what do you think about this? I will be summoning. Yes, I don't have the gems, but I will make up. I want to get this Emelia. I want to showcase her. I think it's a very good addition to my hoster. If she adds to your hoster as well, if you have difficulty with bosses, just remember that we don't need Emelia. In JP, they didn't have her, and they cleared everything with just Narwhal's daughter and Matriarch. That's the same thing for the Ultra Deluxe version of Madeleine. It's good, it's exclusive, it's, well, also in her case, kind of a boss specialist, but you can live without it. You can still live without as Emelia, but I believe that Narwhal's daughter is so important that you should aim here if you don't have her. Even if she's the only missing character, if you already have Madeleine, Brownie, and Liz, you should still summon here and guarantee your Narwhal's daughter for the future. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't, and if you want to support the channel, you have here the links on the description of the video. We see each other on the next video, and tomorrow I will be making a live stream because this game will update at different times, so I see you all later. Bye.